So I was just thinking. Hi, and welcome to I Was Just Thinking, a creative confidence podcast for all kind of creatives. Today's topic is when feedback hurts, handling criticism without shutting down. This is something I feel very passionate about. So yesterday, example, in my Patreon community, we have this rule, a very strong rule, that you are not allowed to have. You're not allowed to give feedback to anyone about their music if they didn't ask for it. So no unsolicited feedback is allowed to be given. And this is really weird that I feel, just thinking this morning, is like, why do I need to enhance this rule? And why is it so confusing and new rule to so many people? And I think it's because there's this idea that if you put art out there, you're supposed to always just make it better. You're supposed to need to learn all the time and make it better. Also, because you put it out there, you need to accept that whatever anyone says, that everybody has opinions and everybody's allowed to say their opinions. There's a lot of people who think that their opinion matters to this random person that they're commenting online, that it's okay to give feedback. It's this culture, I think, online cultures and art community cultures, where feedback is seen as this, like a free for all. And fair enough, I think some people are allowed to feel that way if they are. I'm not saying that there's right or wrong in that. I just think that there needs to be communities and there needs to be places, especially educational institutions should be like this. And also there should be more groups in online where there is a very strong rule that no unsolicited feedback allowed. Because, okay, just hear me out. And I've seen this happen in my group, and I honestly can vouch that it works. That if that rule is applied and nobody's giving feedback for anyone who is not asking for it, you're more likely to feel safe to share whatever it is. You can share stuff that is unfinished, stuff that you don't like, because you know that it's a place where people will just appreciate whatever it is that you created. They can celebrate your creativity. They can celebrate that you can say, hey, I had only like an hour this month to create. I created this. It's not really my vibe, but I'm happy that I created something. And it's just celebrating and giving space for that to happen, because it's nice to share sometimes something that you've done, but you don't need to always firstly feel that you need to be better. It's okay just to be who you are, because sometimes you don't have time to learn, and sometimes you don't need to learn because you just want to exist and live and do things. And different people have different goals. Some people want to be professional and they want to do it professionally and put more art out there and commercialize it. They want to earn money from it. So they want to be better and learn more techniques and learn industry standards and earn the rules. And that's fine. But there's also people who don't. So I have this really big rule. And this morning, because yesterday there was a moment where someone shared their track and they didn't want any feedback on it. They just said, here is something I created. Yeah, and that's it. So they didn't ask anything else. And there were some new members who started then say about the mixing and, you should have do this more and do that less. And I reminded them about this rule that we have in our group, that no unsolicited feedback, please, because I want to keep it as a safe space where everybody just feel it. And this person who posted the track sent me an email today thanking that I enhanced that rule. And it made me feel very emotional and very happy that that's helping, because personally that's how I feel. Like how about if, let's say that we don't enhance that rule and people could just free for all comment whatever they want to, would they feel comfortable themselves then putting something that is unfinished or they're a little bit unsure about or they're not fully can stand behind? Would they share it in the group if they think that someone else can come and like to say, oh, this needs to be like that, this needs to, because also feedback is always just someone's perspective. It's not right perspective, it's just perspective. So if someone comments something online, or a teacher comments something, or educator, any type, or YouTuber comments your your art piece, it's just their opinion, it's not the truth. So whenever I give feedback as someone like, as a person of authority, as an educator or as a community leader, my Patreon community leader or something, I always make sure that I say, you know, this is just my opinion, this is just my perspective, it's not the right opinion. You need to make decision for yourself what you want to take and what you want to leave. I'm just giving my perspective. And if you want example to just exist and just do your thing, and then that's absolutely fine. It's not my place to say what's right or what's wrong. It's no educators, like any uni teacher, any teacher in school, is not their place to say if it's wrong to make certain type of art, because art is always subjective, even if it plays the rules of the industry. So let's say that in a university, the course is designed to make a hit pop song. Then there might be some rules of the industry rules, like, you know, the track needs to be, the song that you need to make needs to be 3.5 minutes. It needs to be in this, like you have verse, chorus, outro type of arrangement. And so there's certain rules and stuff that industry might have as standards. I can understand if it's measured based on those rules, but whether the track is good or not is nobody's place to say. If your creativity is right or wrong is nobody's place to say, because that is subjective. And this is all coming down to now this whole thing, is that if someone is giving you feedback, whether they are a person of power, you don't need to take it if you don't want to. Feedback is always subjective, and it's always there just to serve you, but it shouldn't take you down. So if it's taking you down, it's not giving well. You don't need to listen to it. You don't need to give it the power. Give it the power. Let's go to my pointers. I felt really passionate about this, so I go to my rant first, because I had the whole situation yesterday, and I feel like I keep on talking about it in my Patreon community, and just getting this email this morning of someone really liking that I enhanced that rule just made me feel very happy. So that's why I'm having this rant today. So the first pointer is that it's normal for feedback to sting. Even constructive feedback can feel personal when your art is personal. That reaction is valid. Don't shame yourself for feeling it. Yes. If you feel shit about someone commenting your art, you are allowed to feel shit about it. It's okay. Whether the feedback was hateful or someone trying to be constructive, it doesn't matter. If it felt bad, it's okay that it felt bad. Whether you let it, the only thing that you can then control is to accept that it felt bad, but also whether you allow it to control what you do next. So if someone said something bad about your art and you stop doing art because of that comment, or you change everything that you do, it's sometimes, well, actually, to be honest, it's really hard to sometimes do that consciously, to be aware of how much something like that can impact. Because creative confidence can be destroyed with one sentence. Something that has been existing there for all your life can be destroyed by one comment from someone, example, in a position of power. For me, that happened. I've said about this in this podcast before. When I was about 23, there was a person in a position of power that said that basically my singing voice is shit, but my production is decent, so I should just become a producer and stop singing. That was not the sentence, but that's what I heard in my head. And that's what it really affected me so much that I've only realized after years that that was the sentence that changed everything for me. I have been singing all my life without not feeling like I should be ashamed of my singing voice. I think I have a decent singing voice, but at that moment it destroyed all my confidence I had about singing. And that person probably didn't think about it as a bad comment. They probably thought about it as a constructive. It doesn't matter what their intention was. It still made me question everything. And it was completely, I think that person could have thought about the power they had over a 23-year-old person trying to do something for the first time in the industry. They could have thought how their power and how their sentence can affect someone in my position. But they didn't. And they said it, and it affected, and it took me about 8 years to build that, confidence back, to feel like I can sing again and I can feel proud about singing. So it can be destroyed in 1 second, and it can take years to build back. But I only managed to build it back because I understood and I became aware how much it affected me. So it's possible that you've been hearing something like this, like little sentences of feedback or criticism or stuff like that at some point of your life, and you're not even fully aware that it happened, because it could have been so fast. It could have been comment in email or comments in YouTube, or your family member saying something in a passing comment. But that little sentence, what someone has said, can stick with you forever. And often it's unconsciously. It's there somewhere in your back of your head, just ticking away. And every time you try to do something creative, you make creative decisions because you're afraid of that disapproval of that person. There's a piece of you that is just shattered in your confidence because of that comment. And I can't even imagine people who come from like families where they hear constantly like emotional abuse or like stuff that is affecting their confidence in a general level anyway. And then having that, like, constantly you have these million voices on the back of your head saying that you're not good enough, you can't do this, you're not, you shouldn't do it. And then trying to have the confidence to fight against those, or even realize that those voices are the ones that are not your voice, but someone else's voice that is constantly controlling your creative decisions, whether you want to sing or not, or whether you create this painting or not. Yeah. Separate your identity from your work. You're not your project. Learning to see critique as about the work and not you helps reduce the emotional impact. This is very tricky. And I think this is something that I've experienced in YouTube for many years. I've done YouTube for 5 years now, and dealing with criticism and comments is very, very, very tricky to me. And this, I feel like there's a certain stuff that I struggle not to take personally. So for me, it's always the stuff where someone is like explaining that I've done something wrong, or they I've explained a concept on my tutorial, and then they kind of re-explain it to me, and it makes me feel very like they might not mean it that way, but because of my previous experiences as someone who's dyslexic and who didn't do well at school, I read it in my head like they're telling me that I am stupid, or I'm not capable, or I don't feel like I should, I've done a mistake or something. Especially I feel like I'm stupid. So it's really easy for me to read that kind of comments as some, like, again, unsolicited advice. If someone is giving me advice that I didn't ask for, I really easily react to those as like they're thinking I'm stupid. And it's really tricky because it's okay for me to feel that way, because that's my experience, that's my perspective, and that's my feelings. I feel that. But it's really possible that that person didn't mean it that way. Whether they meant it that way or not doesn't really matter, because we will never know. We can't ever know whether they actually, why they said it the way they said it. But not putting your identity to your work. As artist, is that even possible, to be honest? I don't know. I feel like my identity is very much part of my everything I do. So I can't actually even fully I feel like we can learn to accept that it's not about my work, it's about the person who's saying it. So I'm actually not fully agreeing with this point that I have in here, because it will be personal to me, because I put so much energy and time and care to whatever my art is. So I guess my perspective would be more that the person saying comments, whether that is explaining something again, or please, by the way, just stop giving advice to people who don't ask for it. If they didn't ask for advice, don't say it, because it will, whoever receives it will feel shit about it. I know you might not feel like it's a bad thing to say, like, oh, I'm just sharing my opinion, or I'm giving constructive criticism. You don't need to. Nobody asked for it. Like, you don't like receiving it, so don't give it either. I don't know. Maybe you like receiving it. Maybe you like having criticism. But at the same time, I'm like, there's some people who constantly like, oh, I like having feedback because then I know how to become better. But then I'm like, better? Do you need to always, what does better even mean? What does that mean? I understand if, like, you have a goal to have the top 10 track in the world. So you need to learn the rules. And then if you get criticism, you want to get feedback to know if you're playing with the rules or not. So you want to know if your music is, example, the industry standard, and if it sounds professional enough. I get that. But there's place and time for those kind of feedback, and asking it from the right people. Because random person online, how do you know they qualify giving you that advice? So I guess it's like, if someone didn't ask you for feedback, don't give it. And also, when you ask for feedback, make sure you ask it from a person that you're willing to have it from. And even if they are, that person, you don't need to take it all. You don't need to take it all. You're not a bad person just to want to exist with your skills and want just to feel okay about your art. It's actually a lot better for you and your creative confidence if you really safeguard, if you really take care of your art and your confidence. Protect it. And if you post something online and people start commenting on it, like, you know that can happen. It's almost like whenever you put something online, it will be the consequence of people, you open it up to other people to criticize and take it as they want, which is very exposing. So first, I think it's good to ask if you are willing to do that, if you want to have those conversations, if you're willing to read those comments. And secondly, when you have those comments, you need to understand that you don't need to listen to them. You don't need to take them in. You can ignore, you can block people, you can delete comments, you can safeguard and take care of your space the way you want to. You can close the comments. You're not a bad person if you want to do that, because it's about taking care of who you are. So example, I think it's taken me a long time to learn to deal with comments online. Long time. And I think that most of it, if it's like sexist 101, is like, women are shit producers. I'm like, first, I feel like it really caused a lot of emotions in me. And then now I'm thinking like, oh, be more creative. If you're being sexist online, bloody hell, just at least make it more creative. Be more, like, impress me more with it. But I think different type of negativity or feedback, whatever, can cause different kind of reactions in different people. Because again, as I said, it depends of your previous experiences and what's kind of triggering for you. But it's okay that they're triggering for you. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, protect your creativity and pick up the fights you're willing to take. So if something feels extremely vulnerable and personal to you, and there's like a really big piece of soul into you, soul in part of some piece of art or content you've created, ask yourself if you're willing to share that with people who might take it completely out of context. Do you, if you put it online and someone absolutely slates it and destroys it, what's the impact on you for that? Are you willing to have that conversation? Are you willing to explore those feelings? I was thinking about this a lot when I wrote my book, because in my book, it's very vulnerable, it's very open about who I am and my insecurities, because it's a book about creative confidence and insecurities. So obviously I needed to be quite open about mine to make it honest and make it open. And the closer the day of the publishing started to come, the more I started to panic about it, because I was like, shit, like when it comes out, it will be for anyone to read and take as they want. And especially when it comes to these kind of topics, people have a lot of opinions. They can hear one sentence or one word and they can get triggered by it, because it's in their perspective, in their experience, that can be something very strong in there. And they can write a massive essay below my reviews or under this podcast or something about their response. And I was thinking like, am I ready for that? Am I ready to take that? Because it is really personal for me. And in that sense, separate your identity from your work. I did manage to do that partly because I realized that I stand behind what I write in the book. I stand behind my words and my feelings, and I know how I feel. So if someone doesn't read the whole paragraph and they just read one sentence and they take that and they get triggered, or they have a lot of feelings about what I said, and even if they take it out of context and they twist my words on something, I realize that it's not about me. It's about them having reaction, which is also valid. It's okay that they have that reaction. It's absolutely okay that they feel that way. I'm accepting their feelings. And I think that's given me a lot of peace with this. If someone gets triggered because they see a woman making music production tutorials online and that causes a lot of emotion in them, and they write a sexist comments below my music video or my music production video or my tutorial, I don't get upset about it anymore, because I kind of accept that that's how they feel. I don't need to agree with their feelings. I don't need to agree that you're allowed to go and be sexist on other people's videos, but I accept that they feel that because they have clearly some pain. They have clearly some trauma or something's happened. That's fine. That's okay. It's nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with my work. It's nothing to do with what I've done. It's all to do with them. Yeah. Wow. Can we have a quick leather here? I have a lot to say. I feel like hate comments should be another episode. Hi Lena, I've been in a creative fields for a while now and feedback is part of the job, but I still notice certain comments get under my skin more than usual, even when they're objectively useful. I'm wondering, how do you know when you're genuinely learning from feedback versus when you're just internalizing in an unhealthy way? So I think it's all about, the more that you're in the industry, the more that you can find trust and confidence in what you do and you make, the more you start recognizing the unhealthy comments that are hurtful and the useful ones. You start separating, okay, I want to keep this comment, I want to keep this feedback, and I'm going to leave that. I don't need to listen to that, but I want to take that. Because you understand that actually that person is not right. There's no right or wrong. That person doesn't know everything. We are equal. You know, my perspective and who I am as an artist is valuable. And you actually believe in that. You believe in your view and your message and what you think about things. And anything that anyone else says it's actually nothing to do. It's just their perspective. It's just their view, but it's actually not the right way to do it. It's just a way. Whether you take it or not is up to you. And I think it does come from experience of learning who you are. So the more you create, the more you're in the industry, the more you become confident about your practice and your view and your techniques and everything that you do. And you can stand behind what you're doing, and then you can choose and pick what you take from other people. And you can leave the emotional ones into their own emotions and accept that that exists. I don't need to agree with it, but I respect that their response is that, like, I respect that they have a reaction. Or I respect that this person is trying to help me by giving me a lot of advice. But at this moment, I don't feel like I need that. At this moment, I feel comfortable in what I have created and my skills, and that this is enough. So it all kind of comes down to self-confidence in your own practice and recognizing and trusting your instincts and trusting you. And that comes with age, it comes with experience, and it comes with work of self-awareness and learning about yourself. Therapy helps. Therapy helps because it helps you to understand yourself, and it helps you to understand who you are and who you want to be. And to be honest, you can go to therapy session or coaching just to figure that out, who you are. So that can also help. So there can be a coach or counselor or therapist who can help you with that. If you feel like you don't know how to trust yourself and your opinions and feel comfortable in that, you can ask help for that. Okay, the video is going to end in a minute. So come and if you have any thoughts about any of these topics, please come and tell them to me in comments at DM me at Lena Thinks at Instagram or TikTok. Okay, bye. See you again another time next Wednesday.